When Sam and Helen Walton launched their modest retail business, they were motivated to do extraordinary things. They embarked on a journey to create business opportunities and improve the lives of others along the way.
A New York Times article reported the companies may have profited from illegal child labor.
For more than 120 garment workers who died in a fire at a factory supplying U.S. retail giant Walmart, among others.
Matt is on here, back in my cozy corner for another video. This time during the daytime. I promise I'm not a vampire. And in this video, I'm talking about one of the richest families in the world, the Walton family, and how they made their wealth off of the Walmart fortune and beyond. There's the Walton Family Foundation, and even the Walmart Company Town, a modern version of a company town.
This is the Walton family, and they own Arkansas, quite literally.
Welcome to Bentonville, the place we've called home for over 60 years. And our home office is where it all happens. We're reimagining what a winning workplace looks like.
And in general, just a ton of questionable businesses in the Walmart company that has cost people greatly, but has made the Walton family obscenely rich. So let's talk about it.
We're all talking about the richest men in the world, but what about the richest family? That would be the Waltons, the heirs to the Walmart fortune.
The Walton family's fortune has largely derived from Walmart and has made them the second richest family in the world. The Walton family's wealth is all largely held through the Walton enterprises.
Do you know why the Walton family has more members on the Forbes 400 list than any other family in the world? It's because the Waltons put a company between themselves and Walmart. Their company owns the stock, not the family directly.
So how did one family accumulate so much wealth? It all started with Sam Walton. Sam Walton founded the first Walmart store in 1962.
On July 2nd, 1962, the first Walmart Discount City opened in Rogers, Arkansas. The store wasn't pretty. Bare concrete floors, exposed pipes, merchandise stacked on folding tables. But the prices were genuinely shocking.
Sam focused on targeting rural markets, putting Walmart stores in rural areas, while keeping the products at low costs and high volume. These rural areas didn't have a lot of shopping options. So if you put a store in a rural area with a lot of different product options at a low cost, it seems like a guarantee it's gonna be a hit. At least a store that could easily outcompete the other small businesses in that area.
Sam was watching something happening in American retail that most people his age completely missed: the discount store revolution.
Because of this, Sam Walton became a very wealthy man, and the Walton family's net worth sustained itself and continued to rise through retaining ownership of a large portion of the Walmart company shares through, as mentioned earlier, Walton Enterprises.
Sam and Helen own 20%, and each of their children, they conveniently had 4, got 20%. By transferring ownership to their infant children before there was even a Walmart, they avoid estate tax altogether and transferred billions straight to the next generation. This structure means that this family pays no inheritance tax ever on the largest fortune in human history.
In fact, the Walton family still owns about half of Walmart, meaning they have a large control over what happens with the company. And this is very unusual. Usually once a company becomes extremely successful, family descendants will sell off their shares and live off that wealth.
Walton family. So the wealth of the Walton family has more than tripled since Doug McMillon became CEO in 2014. The heirs to Walmart founder Sam Walton are now collectively worth over $450 billion. That makes them, of course, the richest family in America. Some say the richest in the world. Sam's children, that's Jim, Rob, and Alice, are each worth over $135 billion.
They have a family trust structure that owns the 19%, which has the entire family trust that has been given down generations to generations. But the Walton Enterprises, the company, the holding company, has all the controls, all the rights, and the ability to transfer this from generation to generation that holds control of Walmart.
Here's a diagram of the family wealth and what they all manage here. So let's review. Meet the Waltons, the world's wealthiest family. So it all starts with Sam Walton right in the center Center, who was the country's wealthiest person for part of the 1990s. Walmart co-founders and brothers. From Bud Walton comes Stanley Kroenke, I say that right, Kroenke, who's worth $16.9 billion, owns 30 million square feet of real estate. One person should not own that much real estate. Owns the LA Rams, Denver Broncos, and other sports teams. Let's go up to Sam Walton. There's Alice Walton, worth $101.5 billion, founded Crystal Bridges, and is on Walton Family Foundation Board. Alice Louise Walton was born on October 7th, 1949, and she's the only daughter of Sam Walton. Her estimated net worth is $116 billion, making her the richest woman in the world. Much of her work has been related to the arts. She started the Crystal Bridges Museum of Art in Bentonville, Arkansas, which holds an art collection of around 500 million. And thanks to a Walmart sponsorship, the admission to the art museum is free. But over the years of Alice's life, she's attracted significant legal attention for her multiple dangerous driving incidents. Allegedly, I say, out of fear. While vacationing in Mexico in 1983, Alice Walton wrecked her rented Jeep, breaking both of her legs. Mexican doctors advised that she amputate one of her legs, but she was airlifted to a UAMS hospital in Little Rock. After having several surgeries, the leg healed, though it left one leg shorter than the other. In 1989, one of the most harrowing incidents happened. Early one misty morning in April of 1989, Alice was speeding down a highway in her Porsche on her way to work when she struck and killed a woman named Oleta Hardin, a 50-year-old mother of two who had stepped off her porch to the edge of the road to watch for her carpool ride to a nearby canning factory. Witnesses stated that Walton was speeding at the time, but no charges were filed. Alice didn't even receive a traffic ticket for the incident, even though there have been reports that Alice Walton had been ticketed for speeding the previous year. Instead, the incident was recorded as a no-fault accident. In 1998, Alice Walton crashed her SUV into a gas meter in Springdale, Arkansas. She had a blood alcohol level of 6 points above the legal limit. When officers arrived, she reportedly asked them, "Do you know who I am? Do you know my last name?" Her attorneys argued fatigue from a long day at the office was to blame, not the alcohol. Even though the judge didn't buy this excuse, and she was convicted of 4 counts of drunken driving and could have faced up to a year in prison, she only paid a fine of $925. At the time, Alice's net worth was $6.3 billion. There was another DWI that completely disappeared in Texas in 2011. Alice was arrested by a Texas state trooper for DWI in Parker County. The charge was eventually dropped when the 2-year statute of limitations expired because the arresting trooper was unavailable to testify for 2 years. He was under suspension pending an internal misconduct investigation. Alice then sought to have the arrest expunged from her record entirely. Son John Walton was worth $18.2 billion and died in 2005. Lucas Walton, worth $38.3 billion, and is on the Walton Family Foundation Board. Christy Walton, worth $18.6 billion. Their son Rob Walton, worth $110.5 billion, former Walmart chairman, co-owns Denver Broncos and on Walmart Board of Directors. Carrie Walton Penner, on Walmart Family Foundation Board, and co-owns Denver Broncos. What is this guy? Why are they all involved in Denver Broncos? Greg Penner, chair of Walmart, Broncos co-owner and chair. Then there's Jim Walton, worth $109.2 billion, chairman and CEO of Arvest Bank, former member of Walmart board. Tom Walton, on Walton Family Foundation Board, managing principal of the Ropes Swing Hospitality Company. Olivia Walton, Crystal Bridges board chair. There's Stuart Walton, member of Walmart board, founded aircraft and cycling companies, was chair of Arkansas's Economic Recovery Task Force, a problem that Walmart likely caused. This is the Walton family compared to the British royal family in terms of their valuation. And because the Walton family has a sort of charitable facade that they put over their actions to make it seem like they are giving back with the Walton Family Foundation, I think it's important to note that Forbes has started to include a philanthropy score in its annual Billionaire listings, from a 1 to least charitable to a 5 most charitable. And all the family members have a philanthropy score of 1 to 2 at most. That's 20 to 40% charitable. Beyond the fortune of Walmart, Walton family members started investing in other ventures.
And you started Runway Group with your brother Tom.
Yeah.
So it focuses on a lot of things, real estate, hospitality and culinary.
Rob Walton, son of Sam, bought the Denver Broncos for $4.65 billion. Yeah, just chump change, right? He bought the Broncos in 2022. It's now worth $137 billion, according to Bloomberg, which is quite a valuable investment, I guess. Part of his wealth is managed by private equity firm Madrone Capital Partners, which is the largest shareholder of StubHub. His nephew, Lucas Walton, who's worth $48 billion, has made $15 billion in impact investments, like sustainable fuel made from sewage to bonds that fund ocean conservation. They're just so giving, right? I mean, he made $15 billion off of those investments, but like also the Walton family just really cares about sustainability, as you'll find out through watching this video, and all the good things Walmart as a company has done for the planet and community. Yet undoubtedly, undeniably, most of the Walton fortune has come from Walmart and Walton Enterprises. The entire financial model that the Walton family has operated off of is something that's been pioneered by the Rockefellers. Standard Oil founder John D. Rockefeller established a family office. His descendants would branch off into their own firms and investments and philanthropy, yet still profited off of this sort of family core establishment. It seems like the third generation for a wealth legacy family can be make or break, and the Waltons are on their third generation, who's slowly gaining more authority over the family. In fact, the grandchildren were giving voting rights over the family's Walmart holdings over a year ago. Some have also begun to take over the family's foundation board, and the $8.6 billion philanthropy's causes have started to shift leftward. This is really fascinating, as Walmart has always inserted itself into very rural communities and has always had a very right-wing brand. Let's talk about the younger family members of the Walton Empire. First, there's Lucas Walton, who was born in 1986. Lucas is the son of John T. Walton and the most prominent of the younger generation. Lucas was born in San Diego and earned a degree in environmental sciences and economics from Colorado College. His own childhood shaped some of his values. When he was only 3 years old, he was diagnosed with a rare kidney cancer that spread to his lungs. Within 5 months, he recovered. His mother, Christy, attributed this to a plant-based diet with produce sourced from her own garden. All natural, homegrown, locally sourced, things that Walmart doesn't often provide. Walton has stated his primary goal in his philanthropic and business activities is to advance environmentalist initiatives and other left-of-center social causes. He turned this into a major institution. As founder and chair of Builder's Vision, his family office and impact platform, Lucas aims to align investment capital with measurable environmental and social progress. Founded in 2021, Builder's Vision manages more than $15 billion across 3 interconnected units. Lucas also co-founded the Walton Conservation Coalition in 2017, an electoral advocacy organization that advocates for environmental policy. Lucas also donated more than $149 million of his own inheritance to the Family Foundation's Environment Program, which he chairs. Next is Stuart Walton, born in 1981. Stuart is Jim Walton's son and represents the family on Walmart's board of directors. He earned a law degree from Georgetown University Law Center, but pursued an entrepreneurial path. Much of Stuart's focus has been centered around Bentonville, Arkansas, the town where his family has all the power, so he can revitalize it in whatever image he wants. Stuart's investment strategy for Bentonville was based on the book Rise of the Creative Class. He acknowledged that companies move where the talent is and wanted to make Bentonville a magnet. So with his brother Tom, Stuart co-founded RZC Investments, a private equity firm primarily focused on outdoor and cycling-related companies. Then there's Tom Walton, born in 1983. Tom is Stewart's younger brother. The two of them together are probably best known for their obsessive love of mountain biking and their overall mission to transform Bentonville. They're probably the two guys that could be credited as creating much of what Bentonville is known today for, being the Walmart company town that also has a lot of hip downtown spots and cycling ventures, so that if you're a tech bro who's okay with working for a corporation like Walmart, Bentonville could be your hometown. Over more than a decade, Tom and Stewart have steered at least $74 million through the family foundation towards the construction of 163 miles of paths and trails in Bentonville for recreation and competition, snaking through the city and connecting to hundreds of trails in the surrounding mountains. So let's talk about the younger Walton generation's broader liberal shift, as Walmart is a pretty conservative company and the older founders were very conservative. In December 2024, the family formally announced that internal governance of their Walmart ownership interest would expand to include members of the next generation, a sign that this shift in values is increasingly being baked into the dynasty's power structure itself, which leads to the question, how will this affect the Walmart company over time? We're going to be seeing even more bicycles in Walmart. The younger Waltons seem to share a few common threads: a love of the outdoors, a genuine interest in sustainability and community building, and a desire to use their wealth in ways that are more publicly purposeful, knowing the common core problems of the Walmart company and how it's affected local communities, which we'll talk about in this video. That could end up being a pretty positive thing if general greed and exploitation doesn't get in their way. Whether their beliefs and values fully squares with their inherited fortune, built on a retail model often criticized for low wages and a terrible environmental footprint, I guess the younger generation of Waltons will have to grapple with continually. Or not. They could just care about that in their own personal life and let the rest of us suffer, right? How will the new generations of Waltons not only shape their philanthropic side, but the entire legacy of Walmart? Is that even possible at this point? I mean, theoretically, it kind of could be, since the Walton family still has a large shareholder ownership over Walmart. And if they made those large changes to Walmart, would it be for the betterment of Walmart as a brand, or would it completely destroy it? When Sam Walton died in 1992, the entire family wondered how they would keep control of Walmart.
Sam was terrified that after his death, the government's claim on his estate would force his heirs to sell Walmart shares to cover the bill. So in the early 1980s, while still in good health, he made a series of moves that would lock his family's fortune in place for generations.
And yet, for decades at this point, the family has managed to maintain control. But succession is a main focus for the family and their business. When Sam Walton died, his massive fortune was divided up between his wife, Helen Walton, and their 4 children, Jim, Rob, Alice, and John Walton.
Sam Walton died in 1992, worth about $23 billion. Today, his 3 surviving children, Rob, Jim, and Alice, have a combined net worth exceeding over $400 billion.
This strategic division was all to ensure that Walmart remained in control of the family. Not only has their hold on Walmart maintained, but their wealth has as well. Year after year, each heir has a spot in Forbes 400 list. But let's talk about the dark side of the business that's afforded them so much wealth, and ask the question, at what cost? We've all heard the saying by now, there's no such thing as an ethical billionaire. When you hear the story of the dark side of Walmart and how the Waltons have profited from all of that, I think you really can start to understand that picture. So the Walton family has a global business empire with more than 10,000 Walmart stores in 20 different countries. But it all started with the very first Walmart discount store in Rogers, Arkansas, opened by Sam Walton. Sam graduated with a degree in economics. He worked in JCPenney stores, learning how to manage and operate storefronts, probably learning what customers liked, what drew them in. And right out the gate, the concept of the Walmart store was super successful. So Sam opened other Walmarts in Arkansas and neighboring states. The Walmart business is based on a few core concepts, centralizing all the logistics and stocks to reduce cost so that you're able to offer lower rates to customers, at least compared to local competition, which was all that mattered at the time. Enhancing the customer experience experience with proximity to the public, an idea of convenience at a lower cost. The Walmart store is always in a prime location, even in rural areas, meaning even those living in an area with less options with a Walmart would now have many things available that they didn't have before. It also means that this massive store is plopped in the middle of a prime spot in town, creating Walmart eyesores around the world. Though there's now a Walmart virtually everywhere, especially in America, in the beginning particularly, they would choose small towns in rural areas because there's no competition, there's high demand, especially for something branded as low cost and high savings. It's also important to note that Sam Walton started Sam's Club with pretty similar principles in mind. That being said, over many years, Walmart has been criticized for the product selection it offers, often catering or promoting particular ideologies, maybe as a response to its original rural, often conservative, and often religious market. In 1999, Walmart announced that it would not stock emergency contraceptive pills in its Walmart pharmacies. Walmart didn't cite any reasons for doing this, just saying that it was a business decision, though eventually this decision was reversed after they received backlash.
Pharmacies and retailers are putting a limit on the sale of emergency contraception.
Yet Walmart went on to sell even more controversial products. For example, in 2004, Walmart carried the anti-Semitic hoax, The Protocols of the Elders of Zion, in its online catalog. Yet, at the same time, Walmart refused to sell certain Sports Illustrated magazines because they were deemed too controversial. At the end of 2017, Walmart had to remove t-shirts that they were selling with a promotion of violence, with the words "Rope Tree Journalist, Some Assembly Required." What? Walmart becoming a staple in many rural areas means that they became dependent on Walmart for many services, including Walmart pharmacies. As the opioid crisis was in full swing, Walmart became part of that problem. On December 22, 2020, the United States Department of Justice filed an official complaint towards Walmart pharmacies for failing to comply with the Controlled Substance Act by selling opioids and other restricted substances to its customers. After deliberations, the jury sided with the United States Department of Justice, and all the companies involved were forced to pay a total of $3.1 billion in restitution and damages, and were banned from dispensing opioids.
Yes, we do have breaking news. The Justice Department is alleging that Walmart violated the Controlled Substances Law. They have filed a lawsuit against Walmart. The Justice Department's suit claims that Walmart sought to boost its profits by understaffing its pharmacy and pressuring employees to fill prescriptions quickly. That made it difficult for pharmacists to reject invalid prescriptions. And the Justice Department alleges that enabled widespread drug abuse nationwide.
Walmart employees don't fare better either. The employees that end up working at Walmart would have usually worked in small businesses in their local community. Now working at Walmart, many end up employed but not making a livable wage, with no health insurance, not much job security, and often lacking a voice in the workplace. The systemic stripping of workers' rights is something that happens slowly over time until those working at Walmart feel powerless against the machine, like they have no say and no control over their working environment. One of the largest ways that Walmart has done this has been its long-standing fight to prevent unions, prevent any sort of organizing on the behalf of Walmart's workers. In 2005, labor unions created websites and new organizations as a way to criticize the company, including Wake Up Walmart by United Food and Commercial Workers and Walmart Watch by Service Employees International Union. By the end of 2005, Walmart launched Working Families for Walmart to counter these groups. Another way they tried to counter criticism was by launching a public relations campaign. They made several TV commercials. They retained the public relations firm Edelman. All of this to ensure that their workers don't have rights. But their diligence in responding to these organizations with such variety ferocity has put fear in Walmart workers over joining unions. And Walmart's anti-union tactics have gone even further than just PR. Walmart has surveilled their workers and has even closed their stores or entire departments of their workers who might be attempting to unionize. The documentary, Walmart, The High Cost of Low Price, shows one successful unionization of a Walmart store in Quebec in 2004. But Walmart ended up closing the store only 5 months later because the company didn't approve of the new business plan that this union would require. Fast forward all the way up until July of 2019, and the Walmart subreddit was flooded with pro-union memes. This was because an employee was fired for posting supposedly confidential material onto the subreddit. But a lot of these posters were angry because it seems like Walmart was surveilling its staff on this subreddit. In July of 2018, Walmart was granted a patent titled "Listening to the Front End" for audio surveillance technology, which could allow it to record and surveil its employees and its shoppers.
The idea behind all of this is to provide better customer service according to the patent application. The question though is, where would these devices be installed and how will customers handle it? What you say inside Walmart may stay inside Walmart computers for an extended period. Walmart submitted a patent for listening devices. In the application, the description of the system says the devices could be used to record employees, and the audio data could then be analyzed to determine whether staffers provided solid customer service. The idea is sparking some controversy among customers.
The company claimed that this technology would help increase productivity by generating performance metrics based on the sounds that the cashiers were making, like checkout scanner beeps and conversations. So even if you working as a cashier aren't getting replaced by an AI robot sometime in the near future, they would like you to act like an AI robot as much as possible. So workers suffer more because of Walmart. But what about local businesses? Walmart has been accused of selling merchandise at such a low cost that competitors have tried to sue for predatory pricing, which is intentionally selling product at a low cost in order to completely drive competitors out of the market so that you can essentially have a monopoly. In 2000, the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection accused Walmart of selling butter, milk, laundry detergent, and other staple goods at low cost with the intention of forcing competitors out of business and gaining a monopoly in local markets. In 2003, Germany's High Court ruled that Walmart's low-cost pricing strategy undermined competition and ordered Walmart and other supermarkets to raise their prices. Walmart initially won appeal of the ruling, then the German Supreme Court overturned the appeal. Walmart has since sold its stores in Germany, which leads one to wonder, is Walmart's entire strategy predicated on driving competitors out of the market to gain a sort of monopoly foothold over the market? Is their strategy to enter an area, ideally with not that much competition, put a massive ugly eyesore storefront with such low prices at first that it's completely unreasonable and unfeasible for other local businesses to be able to keep up? Then once all of the other stores go out of business, Walmart is able to raise its prices over time. And that's the only way that Walmart can have a viable business. If that's not the case, then why did they close their store in Germany? Not only that, but their products are of less quality in that process. In May of 2010, Walmart's US stores had to pull its Miley Cyrus necklaces and bracelets. There was an Associated Press release that found that this jewelry contained harmful amounts of the toxic metal cadmium. Cadmium in jewelry isn't dangerous if the items are simply worn, but this jewelry is kind of marketed towards a child audience. I mean, it's Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana, and it becomes dangerous if a child bites or sucks on the jewelry. Walmart replied to this by saying that the jewelry was not intended for children. Really? But that it's possible that younger consumers may seek it out in stores, so they removed it from the shelves. So Walmart makes things worse for people in their local areas. But what about the general community, the environment? Well, according to an article titled "The Dark Side of Walmart," Walmart's preference for large format stores creates significant environment concerns through construction on environmentally sensitive native sites, habitat destruction, and increased impervious surface areas that worsens flooding and runoff problems. The massive footprint of Walmart supercenters and their parking lots, which are always a nightmare, fragments local ecosystems. And since people always have to drive to a Walmart, that's also thousands of car trips daily, which worsens traffic congestion and carbon emissions. So Walmart makes things worse in any local area for the people and their environment. And on top of that, studies have shown that over time, Walmart makes towns poorer. The Walmart effect on local economies is one of the most documented cons of Walmart and shows how much of a lie Walmart is. According to a 2012 Puget Sound Sage study, each Walmart store triggers an estimated 14 million loss in local wages over 2 decades per store. This massive wealth transfer occurs as consumer spending shifts from local retailers to the centralized Walmart operation. So all the money's going from flowing into the community into one giant corporation, instead of all of these different stores with local owners who are benefiting from local business. It's just one giant retailer with all the people at the top benefiting. And the entire business model of Walmart is selling prices at such a low cost that local retailers can't match it, which forces local shops to close, which inevitably tanks the local economy. Overall, that effect reduces business diversity too. With Walmart, all of its profits flow to its shareholders and corporate headquarters. When Walmart plans out a new store location, oftentimes it has to fight its way into town. A civil war ends up being created between pro-Walmart and anti-Walmart factions. One of the wildest incidents that I ended up coming across was in 1998, when Walmart wanted to build a new store right outside of Nashville, Tennessee. The store was to be built west of US Route 70 and Interstate 40. Yet this building site was home to both Native American burial grounds and a Civil War battlefield. So two very, very different groups came to protest the building of this Walmart. A group protesting the rights of Native Americans and the preservation of their history, and Civil War interest groups. Quite a mix. But both of those groups were protesting, saying Walmart should not build on this ground for its history. And yet, the Walmart store was eventually constructed. They moved the graves and did some modifications to not interfere with the battlefield. Civil War relics were discovered at the site. And this is what's just wild, the discrepancy between these two interest groups. The project developers donated land to permit access to the Civil War historic site, and the native sites were removed and just reburied elsewhere. And as much as Walmart has disrespected the land, it's disrespected its people, its employees as well. Walmart is the largest importer in the United States in many categories. The Walton family has tried to pay as little taxes as possible, yet the Waltons take as much money as they can from the government.
Critics coined the phrase the real welfare queens of America, a deliberately provocative framing designed to attach to the Waltons the same moral judgment that had historically been directed at poor people receiving government assistance.
Because Walmart pays its workers poverty wages, Walmart virtually socializes the cost of its labor force, giving their employees little choice but to use government programs in order to survive, like food assistance, Medicaid, and public housing, at the cost of $6.2 billion a year.
When President Kennedy extended minimum wage protections to retail workers in the 1960s, Sam was furious. He'd been hiring displaced farm workers for 50 cents an hour. And now the government was demanding $1.15. His response was to restructure stores as separate legal entities specifically designed to fall below the revenue threshold that triggered minimum wage requirements. When a federal court ultimately ordered back pay with double-time penalties, Sam reportedly told employees he'd fire anyone who cashed their check.
The solution to this problem is not to cut public assistance to workers who need it, which, by the way, is how Republicans are proposing to pay for these latest tax cuts. The solution is to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, making it impossible for employers like the Walton family to skimp on labor costs and pocket the remainder.
New Jobs First documented over $1 billion in state and local government handouts to Walmart between 1983 and 2004.
Walmart is the biggest private employer in the U.S., with 1.5 million employees nationwide, including workers at Walmart's subsidiary Sam's Club. It's become the largest grocer in the United States and the world. The key to Walmart's expansion has always been low wages.
Make almost $17 billion net profit and can't give a worker a 40-cent raise.
As a result of chronically low wages, Walmart tops the list of companies whose workers turn to public assistance. Because Walmart is such a huge employer, this puts a massive dent in public budgets, an estimated $6.2 billion per year that could go to other necessary public services.
Walmart reported that in 2006, its workers earned around $10.11 per hour. Human Rights Watch estimated that this was below the average of $10.24 earned by workers at discount department stores, $10.55 at warehouse clubs and supercenters, and $11.12 at grocery stores. Walmart founder Sam Walton once said, "I pay low wages. I can take advantage of that. We're going to be successful, but the basis is a very low wage, low benefit model of employment."
But underneath the inspirational success story, there was a structural reality that Sam was remarkably candid about. In his own words, "I pay low wages."
Through government assistance, taxpayers collectively pay $5,000 per Walmart employee each year. Walmart spends several $1 million on lobbying every year to maintain the status quo.
The only way for your business to be successful is to ensure that your employees have no benefits and are paid very low wages. Maybe you don't really have that good of a business. In 2008, Walmart agreed to pay $352 million to settle lawsuits that claimed that Walmart forced its employees to work off the clock. Several lawyers described it as the largest settlement ever for lawsuits over wage violations. In November of 2013, the National Labor Relations Board announced that it had found in 13 US states Walmart had pressured employees not to engage in strikes on Black Friday and had illegally disciplined workers who had engaged in strikes. On September 4th of 2008, the Mexican Supreme Court of Justice ruled that Walmart de Mexico, the Mexican subsidiary of Walmart, must cease paying its Walmart employees with vouchers only redeemable at Walmart stores, meaning beforehand they were doing that. A 2005 class action lawsuit in Missouri asserted approximately 160,000 to 200,000 people were forced to work off the clock, denied overtime pay, or were not allowed to take rest and lunch breaks. In 2000, Walmart paid $50 million to settle a class action suit that asserted that 69,000 current and former Walmart employees in Colorado had been forced to work off the clock. In one of the most wild situations, a 2004 report by Democratic United States Representative George Miller alleged that in 10% of Walmart stores, nighttime employees were locked inside, holding them prisoner. In January of 2004, the New York Times reported extensive violations of child labor laws, including 1,371 instances of minors working too late, working during school hours, or for too many hours in a day.
A New York Times article reported the companies may have profited from illegal child labor. State Treasurer Laura Montoya has since removed Walmart from its caution list, saying the retailer has vowed to monitor their suppliers more closely to ensure child labor laws are followed.
Since most of Walmart's products are imported, Walmart has also been criticized for not having adequate supervision over its foreign suppliers because, at the end of the day, Walmart has something to gain through turning a blind eye. Walmart has also been criticized for using sweatshops and prison labor. In 1995, Chinese dissident Harry Wu claimed that Walmart was contracting prison labor store in Guangdong province. Walmart denied these claims. There have also been many reports of teenagers in Bangladesh working in sweatshops for 80 hours a week at 14 cents an hour for Walmart supplier Bexham Co. The documentary film Walmart, The High Cost of Low Price shows images of Walmart goods producing factories in poor condition and factory workers subject to abuse and conditions that the documentary producers considered inhumane. Walmart monitors their suppliers in ways that many critics consider completely inadequate, with outsiders unable to verify the conditions. Walmart won't release its audits over these factories or its factory names, so outside organizations are expected to accept what Walmart says as fact. When they say everything's good, we're operating super ethically, no one's being exploited here, when even their employees in the Walmart stores aren't being treated ethically and fairly. So many people think agencies like Social Accountability International or the Fair Labor Association should do the monitoring. For example, on November 24th, 2012, a fire in a Bangladesh clothing factory resulted in the death of 112 workers. The survivors of the fire said that the fire extinguishers did not work, that an exit door was locked, and that when the fire alarm went off, the bosses told the workers to return to their sewing machines. Victims were trapped or they jumped to their death from an 8-story building, which had no fire escapes or exits. At first, Walmart said it couldn't confirm whether it had ever sourced apparel from the factory, but photos were taken from Bangladeshi labor activists, which showed Walmart branded clothing present in the factory after the fire.
We begin today's show in Bangladesh, where the government has declared a period of national mourning for more than 120 garment workers who died in a fire at a factory supplying U.S. retail giant Walmart, among others. The fire broke out Saturday evening at a garment factory in the suburbs of the capital Dhaka, as its mostly women employees worked overtime to meet holiday rush orders for overseas customers. Survivors said an exit door was locked, fire extinguishers didn't work, and that when the fire alarm went off, their bosses ordered them to stay at their sewing machines. Victims were trapped or jumped to their deaths from the 8-story building, which had no emergency exits or fire escapes. Meanwhile, a second fire broke out in a separate garment factory in Dhaka, though no deaths were reported. Thousands of garment workers have taken to the streets over the past 2 days to protest their unsafe conditions and demand justice.
Until the mid-1990s, Walmart took out corporate-owned life insurance on its own employees. Instead of giving them health insurance or anything, they took out life insurance on them. The United States Internal Revenue Service said that the company was trying to profit from the death of its employees.
This is Paul Smith. He used to be what is known as a loyal employee.
I worked for Walmart for 18 years and I gave them 110%. Excuse me. I mean, I love that company. And as it turned out, Walmart took out over 350,000 life insurance policies on rank and file associates. Pretty good. These weren't executives. These were people like my wife, a cake decorator for 18 months. That's the type of people they were taking insurance policies out on.
And take advantage of the tax law, which allowed the company to deduct the premiums. But the practice was stopped in the mid-1990s when the federal government closed the tax deduction and started to pursue Walmart for back taxes. Now, this is a video on the Walton family, right? Why am I talking so much about Walmart? First off, my mind was blown on how much Walmart has gotten away with in general, and I want to raise awareness on the general damage that Walmart has done throughout its entire existence. But also, I feel like this is important to establish just because of the fact that the billionaire Walton family, all of their wealth has been established off of Walmart, off of these practices, through inflicting these sorts of acts onto millions of others, harming low-income workers and their communities, the environment, the world. Then they turn around and use their fortune to donate to charity and have this public-facing persona of good charitability and care, a phenomenon many rich families often perpetuate. And to me at least, that whole dichotomy is so off-putting and bizarre. There's no such thing as an ethical billionaire. And And how does the Walton family try and show that they really care? Through the Walton Family Foundation. The Walton Family Foundation is essential to the Walton image and their success. So what charitable acts does the Walton family partake in, considering how much damage Walmart has done? In 1987, Sam Walton created a charitable foundation.
When Sam and Helen Walton launched their modest retail business, they were motivated to do extraordinary things. They embarked on a journey to create business opportunities and improve the lives of others along the way. This guiding principle played a major role in helping their business become the world's largest retailer. It also drives the philanthropic mission of the Walton Family Foundation. The foundation carried out charitable initiatives that would benefit deserving people and inspire projects around the world.
The main thing that the Walton Family Foundation, or the WFF, has focused on has been charter schools. That's been its main endeavor. Its main focus is just charter schools.
I think the charter sector has demonstrated that there can be hope, there can be opportunity, there can be high quality education provided within many of our low-income areas in this country. The need for facilities for the public charter school sector is great.
The way public charter schools are funded, they basically don't get money for facilities.
If you've been thinking, within like the last, 30 years, charter schools have really become a more predominant thing within the US. Well, that is because of the Walton family. Later on, the WFF expanded its program to include environmental issues, particularly water related, starting charities to contribute to the problems that they've caused, like poverty and environmental issues. But overall, the Walton Family Foundation, as I've said, mainly builds charter schools. So the Walton family has taken on the responsibility of educating the public. The charter school debate has been one that's been going on for quite some time. While a lot of people feel like charter schools offer different options for education for those that want the options, which can be nice if you live in a small rural area with not a great public school system or not that many options. At the same time, too many schooling options can be overwhelming. It can draw resources away from publicly funded schools into more experimental style schools without really long-term studies on the effectiveness of those schooling systems. It essentially causes charter schools to compete with public schools that are already underfunded, causing public schools to close. It's almost like the Walmart strategy for the schooling system. Put charter schools in an already low resource market, which causes the resources around them to close, and then you control the market. Not saying that's exactly what they're doing, I guess I'm just theorizing. But here's the thing, the Walton family has had a lot of influence on charter schools. The Walton Foundation spent $1.3 billion to promote charter school proliferation. 1 in 4 charter schools now receive startup funds from the Walton Family Foundation, which is a lot of charter schools. But also, as someone not super educated on charter schools, one would also imagine that this might put pressure on those charter schools to align with the Walton Family Foundation's image or belief systems. In cities like Chicago, charter school proliferation led to massive public school closures, which overwhelmingly impacted Black communities, which lost their community anchors. And surprise, surprise, the Waltons and the WFF became involved in politics alongside education. The Walmart Corporation operates one of the largest corporate PACs in the United States. The Walmart PAC has been the second largest corporate donor to the Republican Party. Walton family members donated to George W. Bush, whose tax cuts on income from stock dividends enabled the Walton family to keep $607 million from federal tax collectors per year. And yet, we still haven't gotten to one of the strangest things that the Walton family has done to maintain control over the Walmart company and their foundation. And that is, the Walton family has kickstarted the modern-day company town. Walmart, alongside the Walton Family Foundation, has created a new, modern version of a company town.
But here's the thing that makes the Waltons genuinely different from every other ultra-wealthy dynasty in America. They have built a system of influence so deeply embedded in Arkansas that the state's economy, politics, and culture essentially revolve around their decisions. In Arkansas specifically, roughly 1 in every 10 jobs connects directly or indirectly to Walmart or a Walton family enterprise.
A company town is a place where all or most of the stores and housing is owned by the company, who is also most residents' main employer. Company towns are often planned to have a ton of amenities, like stores, different places of worship, schools, markets, and recreation facilities that make it seem like the ideal place to be. For some reason, the first thing I thought of is Google has a cafe and all these fun things to do at their corporate office so that you'll never want to leave. It sounds super awesome to have everything you need and more available and close by, all started by the very company you work for, right?
Welcome to Bentonville, the place we've called home for over 60 years. Nestled in northwest Arkansas, Bentonville has a way of surprising people. It's a small town where people come to make a big impact. And our home office is where it all happens. We're reimagining what a winning workplace looks like.
Paternalism, a subtle form of social engineering, refers to the control of workers by their employees, who seek to force middle-class ideals upon their working-class employees. PBS called company towns slavery by another name, stating the remoteness and lack of transportation prevented workers from leaving for other jobs or to buy from other independent merchants. In some cases, companies paid employees with a script that was only good at company stores. Without external competition, housing costs and groceries in company towns could become exorbitant, astronomical in prices, and the workers built up large debts that they were required to pay off before they could leave. Sorry, that grocery bill is gonna be $1,000. Oh, you can't pay that? I guess you're in debt to this company town. You can't leave until you pay it off. Company towns often housed laborers in fenced-in or guarded areas, with the excuse that they were protecting laborers from unscrupulous traveling salesmen. In the South, free laborers and convict laborers were often housed in the same spaces and suffered equally terrible mistreatment. One of my favorite all-time books, Parable of the Sower, and a few other fictional books will often utilize the story of company towns to describe the concept of modern enslavement or a theoretical future enslavement that could potentially happen. In these stories, what often happens is you spend more than you make in the company towns on housing and cost of goods, which they purposefully designed to be that way because they own everything. So you end up going into debt and have to constantly work at this company until your very last breath to try and pay off your debt, never being able to leave. And the Waltons basically said, how can we recreate this concept but with a more modern appeal? Now, don't get me wrong, they haven't created a script and they aren't putting their employees into debt or trapping them in fences yet. Bentonville, Arkansas is home to Walmart's headquarters, and it's a town in which the Walton Family Foundation works like a parallel state, creating this 21st century company town. The Walton family has built a sort of urban utopia in and around the Walmart headquarters.
It's an amazing town, first off. Going way back, you know, my dad was always very enthusiastic about the town square, about the businesses that happen around the town square. We lived within walking distance. My parents still live there. And it was just kind of the center of the town. And just kind of nestled up here in what's historically been a very poor part of Arkansas. But over the last several decades, with some of the success of the companies here and the University of Arkansas also, I think, feeling some growth, the region has become more and more prosperous. And, you know, one of the things I've found throughout work is that as you find things that, you know, work for you, as you find things that are being successful, you got to double click on that. You got to double down on that.
So what's happened is you have the Walmart headquarters, and then the Walton family is using their own foundation to bankroll converting this small town of Bentonville into the ideal utopia for Walmart's management class.
And our home office is where it all happens. We're reimagining what a winning workplace looks like. one that honors our proud past and bright future. Our home office is designed to bring people together with open spaces, smart tech, and everything you need to spark change and do your best work. You'll find engineers shaping the next generation of robotics, merchants discovering the next big trend, and teams working together to redefine what's possible in our stores, clubs, and beyond. It's where the future of retail takes shape every day.
Using Walton Family Foundation money to expand Bentonville arts, foodie culture, education, transportation.
You know, this is where we all grew up.
My grandparents were so involved in the community.
If you look at what Bentonville is today, a lot of those seeds were planted by my grandparents and by my parents.
So the Walton family, who has a large ownership in Walmart, has used their philanthropic arm to remake an entire town according to their whims, their vision, to fit around plans for the company and who they want to live there. Why have they done this? The reason why is, to summarize it all, Amazon. Walmart's entire business structure is that they're able to offer better prices at more convenience than other local retailers. When Amazon came in, that became more challenging. So now Walmart is focusing on a growing e-commerce arm. The thing is, if you want to recruit in the online space, you have to lure in high-skill, creative class labor, and Walmart would have to try and convince them to relocate to Bentonville, Arkansas, a small town in a red state where Walmart is headquartered. Junior executives in training, finance experts, supply chain vendors, and technology workers are not gonna go from like Silicon Valley, where they have everything available to them, to Bentonville, Arkansas. So what was Walmart's solution? To gentrify Bentonville and to use the Walton Family Foundation money to do it.
With chef-driven food and award-winning coffee, spaces to recharge, literally, and 100 ways to get outside, our home office makes it easy to work well and live even better. Live music, world-class museums, local makers and markets, and the chance to hike or bike around basically every corner. Whatever you're into, you'll find it here.
Create a mini small-town Silicon Valley in the middle of Arkansas.
It's pretty impressive to see how interconnected the community spirit is in Bentonville. And here's something else I'll tell you that's interesting. 64% of the people in Bentonville were not born in Arkansas. So I think that speaks to how strong community is as a cultural element and how strong a cultural element is in a town.
How did they do it? The foundation's planners implemented new urbanist design enhancements, which promoted sustainability and community, increasing the neighborhood's density, walkability, and creating art scenes. Manufacturing art scenes feels weird. That's something that's supposed to just happen organically, one would think. And creating public recreational areas and green spaces. The original Walmart store was turned into a museum, enshrining the town's patriarch, and it's definitely not creepy in any way at all to do so. They created a network of biking and hiking trails.
What we're trying to do here is really build an urban trail system, and we want people to be able to access those trails from really anywhere by leaving the car behind.
Be it to art, be it to the outdoors, be it to healthy biking and walking trails.
2 art museums.
Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art, genuinely one of the finest art collections in the country, housing over $500 million in masterworks, was built by Alice in 2011.
And a ton of diverse restaurant options available. The foundation also created the Helen R. Waltons Children's Enrichment Center, an early childhood daycare center, guiding a whole child approach to children's development. With Walmart's allegations of enforcing minors to work at inappropriate hours, this just feels a little bit ironic to me. The center also offers nutritional services and a chemical-free environment for the children of Walmart managers, recognizing that toxin-riddled riddled products can hinder development. You can't be serious, right? This is what Walmart provides to their executives versus what they distribute to the world. These children can later on attend the foundation-supported Thaden School, a 6th to 12th grade private school. The school has a greenhouse, gardens, a teaching kitchen, a mountain bike obstacle course, and bicycle maintenance facilities. It also has a $12 million art center.
When you look at all the work that we've done in the Delta, you have got to be excited. Supporting schools, after-school programs, job training programs.
Then there's an economic development strategy that's focused on bringing in new business ideas to the Delta.
Having the foundation here, I think that's really important. Keeping the culture.
All this tax-deductible money paid through the Walton Family Foundation could be even more profitable for the Walton family if it lures in high-skilled workers to work on Walmart's e-commerce angle, boosting their online profile. And it allowed them to avoid an estimated $3 billion in federal taxes, since all of it was seen as charitable investments. I mean, but Bentonville sounds pretty appealing, right? Well, that tends to be the idea of company towns. Draw people in, give them the idea of security. But the Waltons and Walmart virtually own everything, and they designed everything, so it fits around their every whim. So the citizens become dependent on people who own every single company and business in the entire town. Or if they don't own it, they're behind it in some way and the planning of it.
Had some really good conversations with the mayor. Had a couple visits with the fire chief this year. Yeah, I think we're always trying to get out and visit with people, not because we're trying to tell them what to do, but we're trying to hear their side of the story and what's going on in their world and where their challenges are, and where, if we're creating problems or we're creating situations that they need to resolve or need help resolving. You know, it's just, you can't just sit up in your office and sort of sign dictates and expect things to run smoothly and expect to have any clue what you're doing. You got to get out and visit with people and talk to people. And it's not just the sort of public leaders, it's business leaders, it's people that run the nonprofits. You know, there's a tremendous number of people across the community, all with very important roles.
That's a lot of control that a few people have.
Sometimes we see, whether it's, you know, online or people making comments, the Waltons, you know, they, let me get the quote I have in here. The Waltons control everything in Bentonville. I just want to give you a chance to respond to that. What do you have to say when people make that kind of a comment?
Well, I don't see it like that, for starters. And, you know, but I would say that we're trying to make this place a better place. And I would say that there's an awful lot of other people here trying to do the same thing.
Having a say in schooling, city planning, housing costs, and who reaps the benefit of it. The Walton family controls all of it, so they can make more money and funnel more people into working for their corporation and becoming dependent on working for their corporation.
The Bentonville that Sam moved to in 1950 had 3,000 people and a town square. It now has 55,000 people, a world-class art museum, an international airport, and the global headquarters of the largest retailer in human history.
Greater demand for housing has already increased home prices in Bentonville by more than $100,000 between 2014 and 2019. The total value of real estate has already reached an all-time high of $2.64 billion. The Walton family owns Arvest Bank, the largest home lender in the region.
Jim Walton's Arvest Bank is one of the largest financial institutions in Arkansas, holding mortgages on countless homes and loans on countless businesses across the state.
Arvest also finances the expansion of retail and office space, serving as the region's primary banking system. What could go wrong with that? And issuing Paycheck Protection Program loans to small businesses totaling over $1 billion. Small businesses are bad in other areas, but they're great for Benton, Arkansas. It seems like the Walton family understands the importance of small businesses when it comes to their company town, but no other small towns. And this is the brutal real reality of billionaire families and how they can act publicly for their public image. We're so charitable and completely different when it comes to their companies and their own self-interest. That's all for today's video. If you have a billionaire family you'd like me to look into next, comment below. I'd really like to look into the Koch family, but I'm open to many. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!